So I'm not just sure that whether you all can hear me. Can anyone just give me a response that you can hear my voice?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thanks. Okay. First of all, I think thank you everyone for coming for this short webinar session. I'm Joe Paul. I'm from Metrics Invent. I'm a sales director. Today, I think the objective of this webinar will be very much sharing one of the products from our partner, US Canary Historian. So the objective is to share how it can be really maximize your process data anytime, anyway. So with me, I do have my moderator, our team moderator, Yong in the team together. So also with our technical specialist, Isaac and Linda. If you got any question, you can anytime just type in the chat box, while we are going to the end of the session, I think they will help me to answer the question from you. Yeah. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so especially for all the engineers and data experts, most of the time we have the feedback is that there is a huge wish list, that what is the important for them that to maximize their process data. And first thing will be every time will be for them to store everything. So everything raw data that they won't want to miss anything. The reason being is because you will never know one day you can get back the data and you can find it in certain events that you want to analyze the trend and the value and how it happens. So that's very important. Sorry. So engineer also would like to also faster pooling because be it 1 day, 10 days or 1 month or 10 years of data. So they want it to be easy to pull out all the data for immediately analysis, or maybe reporting purpose. That's one of the key wish lists for them. And you have also open access for the inter-department to share information between engineers, also the data expert, or maybe potentially you are the clients that you run the service for your clients that you want to share the data and reporting for them. So open access to able to authorize who will be able to see what kind of reports is very important in the business as well. And eventually, we will very much interpret and act how to really transform complex data into simple to understand format. So these are always the wish list of all the data experts and also the engineers. But what is holding you back, in fact? The key thing will be more onto the data management headaches. So due to the brand of information technology and OT unbalanced now, everything is going to be software. So no matter you're in what segment, however, being an engineer or data expert that you are specialized in the oil field, in a manufacturing, in a waste management, that you are very, very much into that particular specialization, but you got to pick up a lot of IT skill in order to manage the database and then to really maximize the process data. And because of that, it is always a headache and holding, the data engineer back. So last but not least, we'll be very much into that based on the feedback, those that it can near to the use of the software that can really finding the balance for this purpose will be very high in investment. And easily you're talking about years of justification for return of investment. It is very difficult to justify for the management. So these are the key things that we got the feedback that holding data expert and also engineers back. So what today we will do is that also to introduce why Canary can help you transform your operation, into all this problem to make it easier to achieve the objective. First, we store large quantity of process data. Canary can really store years of data. In our experience is that some of the customers are storing even data up to 20 years that you do not need to really bother about it. You can just have the kind of like space and compression capability for it. You can add context to your data to make it more relevant. Okay, we will share later how you will do it, and provide your team with the right tools and secure database access as needed. So that is also important, like we mentioned, that besides for your information sharing within your internal organization, but it can be also used as to like a service provider to your client as well. So we have two sessions of the webinar today. The first session will be myself. We're going through with you an overview of the Canary system. Okay, but you got another session which is a pre-recorded because we have Sean from Canary. He's a senior consultant to run a demo for you to how the system look like to really create and how easy to use the system. However, due to time zone problem, we will only get him as a virtual engineer to do the demo today. Yeah, but I mean, whatever question that you want to ask, if we can answer today, we help you to answer. But if we can't, we will actually take down and come back to you again. Yeah. So first thing is let's guide you on this. So Canary is a system that is more than 35 years in the market, I mean, till now. So it has more than 19,000 installation worldwide. So 55 countries, and they have more than 20 industry totally. So be it the system of historian and time series database started very much into those utilities and oil and gas field, but today it is spanning to different industry, inclusive manufacturing, inclusive, I mean, you got even like a data center, you got even intelligent building management system, I mean, that also use time series database to actually maximize their process data. Yeah. From small company, I mean, to multinational company or even enterprises like Murphy Oil, NASA, Philip Morris, PP, and Schlumberger, that you can see it is a very scalable system. From small system, 100 tags, we can grow to even millions of tags for this kind of industry. So that's something that is the customer base set by itself. It's something that is trustable for years. So Canary itself, before we started, just a short one, is something that I think the objective is to ensure that how it can transform complex data into simple to understand format, and very scalable from even one site that most of our customers starting from a very simple site to use the trending tools and benefit immediately now to even 100 site. There's no issue on that. So that's how Canary, Labs historian solution is vastly trusted by the customer. I will bring you through these 3 steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3 to further understand how Canary works in a way and how to maximize your data. So collect the data and store your data, assign your data context, maximize your operation. These are the key things, that 3 steps that you can let you understand how Canary beneficiary to your organization, especially on the process data environment. Yeah. So collect data. The first thing is that everything you need to collect before you can really maximize the data. So Canary come with collectors that support the format of MQTT Spark Plug. That is very much into the environment of IoT in the coming IoT trends, sensors and platforms in the coming years. Especially we see it will be a big jump when 5G's network is going to be ready. So, but overall today, the 90% over customer base are using the OPC compliant UADA servers, but they do have some kind of like in direct SCADA system integration that develop across like a global partnership basis. And you also have a SQL databases in case you need to connect to some databases, but this will be very much into line if the customer will like to build some asset models that you do not find enough data from the current servers, but you got distributed information from different databases in the organization. So they do have even the connectors that you can connect to other database for you to access and to build even much more enhanced asset models. So you can connect to CSV files, and if that's not just enough, you can go to even web and .NET, to use the API to connect to any data source that you require. So that's the collector's work. So the typical diagram will show something like that. From a PLC device, and then it can connect to an OPC server, with which a Canary Center with service will be installed and sent over to the Canary historian server before it can be accessed by the client tools. Yeah. The important point to note here is that anything which is sending out directly, it is only one direction. You do not have to worry that, Canary will write back any data back to the PLCs and the devices. So it's pretty much one way and very safe. So as you can see, the center service is installing same in the OPC server and then transfer to the Canary historian server. And it will be the same if you are talking about MQTT broker, which is one of the new setup in the industry, which can be compatible to many sensors, device, and even partly can be the newest client that allow you to subscribe to all different machines as a standard in the future. Yeah. So store and forward is another key things for Canary collectors. when you store and install the sender service in the OPC server, okay, so if you manage all the data that it collected, like a logging, and then send over to the receiver service. And the receiver service will be something to tie to your historian server in your corporate site or your remote control site so that you can analyze the data. Sometimes you will get the connection to be disconnected, especially you have many sites that's located, maybe the oil and gas field remotely from the center. You have some very unstable network. Then you may be disconnected time to time. However, the sender service will be act like a cache to cache all this data locally. And it will send, the alerts to your admin to tell you that what's happening and the data has been down for since when and what's happening now and the status. And eventually, if the data link restore, the sender service will automatically backfill the data and send over back to the receiver. So there's no loss of data and everything will be managed automatically. You can have one-to-many relationship, not just only sending to one site. Perhaps if you got second site and the third site that you want to send through, and maybe you have a dual logging or triple logging, site to send into a different historian site in the matrix architect environment. It can be very flexible for you to architect, and it is not just only one-to-one, but one-to-many or even many-to-many relationship. So that's how they do the store and forward architecture. So Canary history is something that, it's a database, but it is a non-relational and non-SQL time series database. So what we can, it is optimized for process data and performance. When we talk about process data, it's something that is different from the normal relational database, where you get a lot of different tables pointing to each other. This is much more into like just straightforward time series data that you can really make sure that you need to store very fast and store a huge quantity in your database. And the good thing about Canary history is that you do not need any DBA skill sets required. As we just mentioned, that if many data experts and engineers today, they are from the operational technology segment, which is specialized in their own work field. However, if they really want to use database technology, they have to really increase their skill or really expand the skill to maintain the database. But that's nothing needed in Canary history. It is very scalable. You can start from 100 tags until 2 million tags. So this is just a guideline. In fact, you can even have more than 2 million tags, in some environment, but the tested is more like 2 million tags. And you can connect to historian, to corporate historian, dual logging and mirror service. So what is the mirror service act like? It's actually more into like a contingency planning site. In the case of you need to store some data from site A, corporate site, but you still need to do a contingency backup or redundancy in the far away from the site A. So with that, they will ensure business continuity, or maybe even as a backup for any potentially today's a lot of hacking activity, or maybe hijack, or maybe even to ransomware that you may cause a data loss. So you can have a mirror from your server A, corporate historian, to server B. And at the same time, you can also have dual logging, or maybe triple logging, log from any architecture, as we just explained, the multiple relationship that you can have. So performance does not degrade over time. It is different from the conventional SQL database. When you store more, you will see the performance will come down. But as for Canary historian, the 35 years of experience, their database will be very much behave the same. When you even have 10 or 20 years of data. The speed of writing and reading can be in between 1.5 for the write speed and 2.5 million to the read speed. Okay, this is a guideline again, as we mentioned, because they can also have the millisecond or I'm not so sure that they have nanosecond at this point in time, but that will depend on your data source output. If it is millisecond, you can go into millisecond as well. Yeah. And what you've shown now here is a screenshot. The senior consultant from Canary, they work up with one of the oil and gas customer to test out. And you can see the sender here. They actually trying to connect to 4 different sites. With every site have a calling logging activity of up to 250,000 tags. So these are the estimation of each machine, but some is like 280 or 300,000, I think 250, let's just make an example of 250, and adding up in total of 1 million text that is sending over to Canary per second. And you can see here the historian, it is showing that the updates is close to 1 million per second, okay, when they receive and the write to the historian. So receiver is a very simple dashboard that you can see from an admin screen that you can and how the data received but writing to the historian server. This would be something that you look at the spec of the very basic entrance server of today, 8 gigabyte RAM, and 3 gigahertz of the speed. With that, a million text writing onto Canary historian, you can even see that there's no stress on the performance of the hardware, be it the CPU and the memory. So basically, it's very minimum of the usage of the resources. There's nothing to spike up your resources when they're writing on historian database. Okay, so what is a tag? A tag actually is talking about a time series records. It consists of a timestamp, it consists of value, the quality of the data, and perhaps even metadata properties if some machines are putting on top of that. So the tag actually contains of these 4 things. To what you can referring to is that if you got some go to check out every day, then as a human, then you got your blood pressure, you got your cholesterol level, you got the pulse, these are the human health data. But to a machine or to a sensor, they do carry the same data to tell you that what kind of status that they are having now. So that's why the timestamp, value, quality, metadata is pretty much a standard time series value that carried by a tag. So Canary historian will be storing the text with lossless compression. As 35 years of expertise, they develop their own IP into compressed data, which is best in class in the performance with 3 times the data compression. Okay, so that is the reason also why that when we always engaging with the customers to tell us that what kind of storage capacity is required to store maybe example of 100,000 text to 200,000 text for the period of 5 to 10 years time. But when we calculated, there's any machine today you get out from the market, it is already capable to store that kind of data because the storage required is pretty small due to the compression technology by Canary historian. Yeah, so it store raw data value forever. You won't lose anything. I think that's the wish list of most of the data experts and engineers. So they wish all this data can be stored, but at least it won't be disturbed. And one day you can take it out back to use it and to analyze the events of anything happen, or even study the behavior of a production or in the manufacturing line as well. So these are all, the important wish list for the data expert and engineers. So Canary historian is very out of the box. You do not need any skill to really to install it. In fact, just very easy to guide you through. Perhaps even take 1 or 2 hours. You can install the solution, both the logger and the historian. It has no data loss, which is something that they can guarantee across the years of 35 years. There's nothing will be lost if it is even logged and sent back from sender service to the receiving service. And the important is that the 35 years experience, you see something, a database that you can depend on. Yeah. So that's how we concluded the step 1. And the step 2 will be something to assign your data context. So this is the session where we talk about you got a lot of raw data. First thing is that how do you see all this production line that a lot of machines that you have, and the sensors that we have. Normally you got a lot of machine data, that is listed like what you see, BL001FT001.pb, and you have the second production line in the plant or different remote site having the same facilities but all engaging in a different value. Yeah. However, if 1 or 2 this kind of machine data, you may still able to understand and do the reporting simplified by yourself. If you got a lot of this kind of production line, maybe 10 or 15 or 20, that become a huge challenge for data expert and engineer, how they even can understand before they even talk about presenting the data to other people and even to the clients. So the good thing is that if you can really set up something, a virtual view, to be something to see that desired client format, that you can have a much more meaningful feel and the information that is readable and understandable. That is the key challenge that most of the data expert and engineer wishes to. So I can do whatever things that are easy to understand, but however, I do not change the raw data that I receive and store in my database. So that's a very important functionality of the Canary historian. Okay, so virtual views are created on top of the historian. If you look at it, the views is more like a service that is connecting to the historian, which is storing all your raw data, and you got a calculator engine that I will explain later, plus the event. So I mean, this is more like an alert, how you can instruct the system to provide you what kind of alerts that we also explain in the later stage. And the client will access to the view to actually see all this data. Yeah. So the view, like I said, it can be a client of yourself, of your internal interdepartments, or maybe even the external if you are running as a service provider to the waste management, oil and gas, or maybe to other customer in some utilities. And you may got even something like multiple views. You can split different views that you want to achieve by other clients. So you may have one client to see view 1, view 2, and you can have multiple clients to see view 1, view 2. All depends on how you want to architect and separate all the views and the access of this data to them. So it's purely localizable and customizable for you to get the view to your client and even both internal and external. So this will be the architecture looks like, I mean, the views will become a function of the client to allow you to do something on top the virtual view. And some people to talk about even the twins view, and I mean the context. It is something that whatever it is, you can do something, just rebrand or refill all the names of the text that is meaningful to you. Yeah. But in some scenario, you may have some a site with a multiple production line, and you may also have multiple sites. So these sites may contain, I mean, for example, in this scenario, you got line 1 production line, you got a boiler, you got a fueler, you got a waterman, you got also a second line with a boiler, fueler, and waterman, and you got line 3, you got a boiler, fueler, waterman. So these are the different, I would say, the sensors data or the equipment into different production line. So, and you can actually using Canary system to also build an asset model to group that what you want to see. For example, in the case of the client say, hey, I mean, experts, I just want to see what is the boiler in all my production line. Can you group all this boiler as an information that I can see? Because if you come to me, there will be a lot of data that is sometimes too many information, maybe 20 text, 100 text, or 1,000 text. But I just want to know what is the boilers and the asset models in my production plant. Yeah, so you can actually pick up the text and then redefine it and the category and group them together. So from here, then you can have a line 1 boiler, what is the pressure that you got, steam out the temperature. You have a line 2 boiler 1, you got line 3 boiler 1, then you got line 3 boiler 2. So all this will be able to perform a categories and asset models that you can group together. So in a way that is much more easy to analyze for any objective that you want to achieve. Yeah. So you can have client can request on the database on asset. You can show all boilers temperature. I mean, you can filter based on asset tag condition by putting in some filtering, algorithm on top. So you can just put in even something like show all the boilers with temperature more than 220 degrees Fahrenheit. From here, you can see the context. You can add as many as the condition that you need the tool to filter to see in a different environment. So that's how you're going to build the filtering process on your asset models. And in another key function of assigning your data context is that, just like when you're driving a car. So every time when you're driving 40, 60, 80 miles per hour, so these are the raw data, the sensors immediately telling you that you are driving the car at this speed. So that we call it the raw data. Yeah. And then sometimes you got some condition-based data. In a way to talk about when before you start up your car, it will check the engine, your fuel injection, your batteries, is everything okay? So these are condition-based data. And the final things will be more on calculated KPIs. So most of the car today will even can tell you to really empower you and enhance you to drive even much more better, because they can really given you some kind of like calculation to calculate the tank, how much oil that is still inside your tank. They can drive it with the current speed to how long. That the mileage you can still go. So these are the things we call the calculated KPIs. Same thing, it goes to, Canary. So you can do single calculation can be deployed to all instances of an asset type. Like we just mentioned that you got the boiler 1, boiler 2, boiler 3, but you can still do certain kind of a calculation and create a new tag based on the calculation, and it can be even calculated during the real-time backfilling. And you got 70 more than functions of these scientific calculations that in the calculator provided together. So from there, you can even store a new tag value based on what you want to see. Maybe the boiler. So I want to know the average hour of the average temperature per hour. So I want to know the percentage of the rejected bottles, and I want to know the total daily volume per line. So these are the things that you can massage the data and make it much more to easy understand and meaningful to you and your clients. So it comes together, is within, the capability of Canary that you have this calculated engine. Okay. And you have also event monitoring, condition-based asset monitoring. So that, like we just mentioning that, if something happened, can you put an alert if the particular the boiler hit the temperature of 220 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can also do a reporting based on event performance. Okay, be it if anything happened, it hit the particular condition, can you automatically send out the reports to the operator admins, to the clients, or to the data expert who analyze the situation. This can be also work like an automated workflow. And you can also have an analytics from within the event duration. So this is more to like talking about if something happened to hit a particular events and the condition that you set in between that particular period of time, starting from maybe like March 1st, 2020, 4/18 until ended on this period of time in April. So what has happened? You can record all these events from start to end point, and you can even analyze why this happened due to certain, the condition that you have preset. So the event monitoring is very powerful, that you can really maximize your imagination and the needs that you need to really calculate and even store and save what is the text that's much more even meaningful from all this process data. Yeah. And step 3 will be the maximize of your operation. You can maximize your operation. One of the powerful client software that come together with Canary History is called Azure. Okay, Azure actually will do something like very simple from the basic trending until you can design a dashboard and then also perform reporting. Yeah. So it is built with HTML in a way that you can really view and access from your desktop, from your iPad, even from the other tablet, from Android, or even from your phone. So the new norm in this pandemic, let's say for example, if now work from home, when it's going to be even some of the new norm will be kept. Post-pandemic, you may still have a lot of situation you can remotely access to your plant, your facilities, and with peace of mind that you do not need to carry a big machine, just with your handphone, that you actually can look into the entire situation of your plant if you decided to build the dashboard with that particular functionality. Yeah. So it is designed for self-service, self-service reporting. Anytime, the most important is that you got real time to monitor, but you can set up a lot of condition and also a lot of workflow and algorithm. So it will perform with that to provide you a very, very simple and based on what you need reporting. So we call it the self-service reporting. So these are the common screen that you can see. The trending screen that you can build for yourself. And sometimes I would say that to build this screen from Canary expertise, they would say it's only within 10 minutes to 15 minutes you can build a screen like this. But to us, we may need about more than that because we still not as used to it with them together. Then you can have some donut rings. You can build even some graph, that if required. You can even have a much more complicated table to be built on top of the dashboard. So whatever you see here today is actually just drag and drop, mostly drag and drop. In the case you got certain graphics and pictures that is not in the libraries of Azure, you can anytime to import it from other sources, and then you can create your own dashboard by its own. So this one of the example is more like a donut manufacturing factory who are also using Canary to connect to the SCADA system. Okay, so the use case sometimes will be to talk about in the manufacturing environment why you need this kind of data. You have SCADA, but you have multiple SCADA. You have multiple SCADA plus other sensors in different environment. or these are individual systems but it's not integrated. So whereas Azure and Canary can help you to go into the site to connect to all these different sources so that you can have a new, or maybe I would say independent dashboard that you can really look into it, what is happening. So you can even build some certain alerts if what is happening to the quality of the food in the production line has been run out of your, I mean, like your preset value. Maybe the sugar added, is too much that is supposed to be as a standard. So these are all even the event monitoring and condition workflow that can send report to you in order for you to next time to do better in the production line. Yeah. You can have something like this wind farm that you can even incorporate, I mean, the Google map to look into the geographical location of where your wind farm is located and what is the asset that are for different turbine, 2x1, 2x2, 2x3. Every time you click on different turbine, you can enter into a different screen. So you can have one screen, you can have multiple screen, and that all depends on how you want to design the screen. Again, like I said, that I mean, this screen design, it can really help you to build the whole thing. If you are familiarized in the future, within an hour, you can do this cloud dashboard. So this is another great example that I want to show is because it is actually from a packaging environment. Imagine now we're always talking about the utilities, oil and gas field, but what if your warehouse, what if it's your packaging plant that sometimes you want to ensure the humidity and the temperature to ensure that the quality of the stock stored in the warehouse and the packaging environment is good to go, good to store. And at the same time, if anything goes wrong, do you able to see what is the situation inside the real life streaming? So Canary will also allow you to stream some online video if you have that online video to be connected with the data to ship out. So like I say, I mean, when the data pipe is getting stronger, you have all this capability to also remotely to access to your plant anytime, anywhere. So these are the key strong point of Canary. So again, is drag and drop, whatever you see here, mostly we'll be just only using the Canary Studio. So the Asian Studio, they do not need too much effort to build this studio. Okay. In some environment, I mean, some customer, especially, I think I would say in the OT environment, you will require a lot of data to connect to your Excel because you may want to present it to your customers or internal reporting. Most important, we found many of our customers are providing it for the end clients, what is happening to the sites. So Canary also allow you to connect to the Excel, so you can easily really to do any reporting ad hoc to copy and paste all these text, and choose and filter it. What do you want to do? So with that, even you can build certain macros to even perform certain calculation or even sending in and out. So these are the key things. Also, Excel can add in can be done. So to show you, this is an example. When you open up, if it is connected with the Excel, the Canary service add-in activated, you can see all the text available. You can just copy and move over to fill in the entire Excel that's required. And from there, you already can generate a very simple report. So this is more like an Excel add-in, module that in fact also very key important by a lot of operators for this function. Connectors, like we just mentioned, that you have a public service, you have web API, MQTT, SCADA, ODBC, OPC, in a situation where you need the data to be even exported, to other system to even calculate some predictive environment or maybe some other reportings that you need some integrated data from everywhere. So you do even have an ODBC connector to be able to move data in and out to other database. So there's nothing to tie you up from there, but as long as you are in Canary, you can have a long compressed the IP designed by Canary data for 10-20 years. All the raw data will be saved without any loss, all quality inside the database itself. So now I'm going to switch over to this live demo, by Sean, and you can just have a feel of how Sean can see the entire dashboard using Azure and how easy can be built via the Canary Studio. So after that, I will share some of the commercial information with you that you can look into the return of investment and how scalable of the system that can help you in your operation. Thank you, Sean. I think I'm not Carl because Carl pay Sean in US web, for every month, and I pay virtual Sean, and then I will send him a thank you note by tonight. Anyway, it is very easy to create a dashboard like what Sean showed you just now. So coming back to here is that, and I can share one of my experience when I joined one of the webinar with Sean and Canary Labs SCADA partners in US. They have the idea to even suggesting some of the people from their account and finance department to come and install the systems. And in fact, it did happen, and it is so easy. It's just about 10 to 15 minutes time they can set up a system. So that shows the system is how easy to use, that you do not have to worry about what kind of like DBA skill, API skill that you require. So be stay tuned to what specialized you are in, and you can use Canary to excel from it. Yeah. So I just give a summary to the whole thing with the entire presentation, that where Canary system do connect come with a package that will with Canary collectors. They can store and forward service. They got a Canary history with 100 text, which is the base system. You got virtual views, calculator servers, events, Asium license, Excel add-in. These connectors, these are all the come with a standard Canary-based system. So however, if you require more text, like 200 text or 1,000 text or 60,000 text, that will be some other configuration that you need to add it to. Yeah. So Asium and Excel add-in is actually running as a concurrent license. So you may have 5 to 10 people in your organization, but if you just need to have one person to access the service at one time, you just need one license. So it's not named. So it's a very fair thing that to calculate by the usage. Yeah. So they have a website that you can go to the website to even configure the pricing. The good thing about Canary is that they make it very transparent about pricing. No matter where you get the code, where you from Singapore, from China, from Japan, from US, Europe, everywhere will be the same. They make it very transparent. So these are the pricing calculator that you can do to input how many text that you wanted to, how many Asium license you wanted to, how many Excel add-on license you wanted to. So once you click, then you got the answer from there. Yeah. So who will host the data? So you have two choice. You can have you host yourself, which is an on-prem solution that you buy the whole solution and install at your site. And you do have an option to do Canary Cloud. Currently, the server is pretty much into servicing the North America, Europe, because the server is there. And Canary Labs also exploring, the chance to move another image of the installation, or the site of the operation into Singapore to servicing the entire Asia Pacific customer. So, but this will be something that depends on the customer urgent needs. How much they have. When they have enough, they will just go up to with this service on that. So unlimited license by tech, by client, in case in the situation that you require unlimited license. In fact, for the on-prem basis, anything that more than 60,000 text is considered unlimited. From there, you can buy an unlimited license that you can store up to 1 million or 2 million. So that's why what we will say the return of investment is very justified, because of the pricing is very much, I would say, advantage in compared to other competitors. But you do have almost all the functionality in the market, and they are also one of some of the rare players that in the segment that can have this such a performance of the database. Yeah. So the example will be something like the base solution, 100 tag. You got a client count of one concurrent user for the ASM and the Excel add-on. Then the upfront purchase will be 4,000. So with a maintenance service that you need to commit, but optional by the following years, like 15%, or you subscribe by these functions of 135. But however, like I said, that some customers decided not to ensure this data moving out from the data field, especially in oil and gas in Malaysia and in Indonesia, you can't have this data to be moved out. So the cloud is not an option for them. So it is all depends what is the choice that you want, but they do offer these both options available. So if you got a tech house which is about 5,000, you got a client count 3 concurrent, then you only require to purchase upfront around 14,130. So anytime if you need any pricing discussion with us, you can always reach us and we can help you to configure the price. But like I say, the important is that the price has been really justifiable, especially the logger are not calculated as a module. If you require many loggers like 5, 10, 20, or 100 loggers, they are all free that come with the Canary historian. So you can have this as a very important advantage, especially if you are a multi-site setup for your data to be logged and also transfer back to your historian software. Yeah. So this is another example of the unlimited count for the software. Anything that 60,000 when it hit unlimited, you can just have one-time purchase upfront, and you can go up to 1 billion, 2 billion tax, or 3 billion tax. There's no longer any limit from there. So this is one of the good things about the return of investment justification. Okay, so getting started is easy. If you require, that you can always call us, that we can arrange a free trial for you, a 90 days free trial. And step 2, you can just purchase from us, and then we will, I think from the Parsonic principle and us, we will provide level 1 over this region, and level 2 and level 3 by Canary Labs to give you the kind of support, that you ensure you have the understanding and successful installation, and then deploy and train. Okay, that's to make up the whole 3 easy steps to get started. Yeah. Any question? So this will be the conclusion of today's webinar. But anyway, you can anytime to send us any information if you require further. So our sales and our consultant will help you to come back to you on all the questions if you got anything pops up in mind after the webinar. So I will stay here for a minute and see anything that you wish to ask.
Joe, we have a question in the chat box there. Brian asks, can we buy the system to host for customer as a cloud service?
You can do so, but you will need to get a node to Canary for this service. But I think I heard that you will need to have an agreement and approval from Canary to propose to them what is the best way for such a thing. But you can't resell the license to other people, but you can buy it and then you can use it as a service provider to your client, but you cannot actually resell the license to other people.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, so if there's no further question, we can end this session by today, but we try to run more of this session per month if possible, so that in the region we will have all these our SI partners and also our customer can time to time to join in to even share the feedback together, and also to get any product updates from Canary, and hopefully there will be some useful session going forwards in 2021 when targeted to be a post-pandemic era. Yeah. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Finally. So stop now,